What's your favorite scam? Is it rug pulls? Is it Ponzi scheme, Nigerian prince, or the worst of them all, tax?
I don't care who the IRS sends, I am not paying taxes.
Mine is rug pulling because I think it's a high art that everyone ranging from like a president of a country to a well-mannered next door neighbor girlie can pull off from time to time. And eventually when I make it, just you wait and see when I come up with my own coin. But it will be different. That one will really make a positive impact in the world. Trust me, I'm different. The advanced technology of this time and age made it easier for anyone to perform a scam anywhere. But how did people scam about 100 years ago? That is the story we're going to see in this film made in 1985, Atsag, shudnii, zoruu. I have no way to really translate it in a way that it clicks with like you, or at least to me, so we're just gonna go with the Mongolian title. Although this movie is about like a serious scam against Mongolia, I can't stop finding the theme music better fitting for Tom and Jerry. I mean, take a listen. The film starts with a calm and nothing out of the ordinary day at the eastern branch of the recently instituted Mongol Bank. Taking advantage of the political instability of both of their neighbors, Mongolia has managed to revive its independent identity aside from being almost an empty space between the Qing dynasty and the Kingdom of Russia, where they played their political games, and to stop being a warehouse of their eternal inventory of soldiers and a meeting spot for when they decided they didn't hate each other as much. Mongolia was becoming a country, not just a countryside. And the first order of business was to reform their economic state that was purely dependent on imports from their big brothers, and all the transactions were made with bartering or with like a foreign currency. A simple step towards this big task was having its own currency. So finally, on the December 9th of 1925, Mongol Bank issued their very own money in the form of coins and in a paper money. The coins were made out of like the pure silver and weighed about 18 grams each. That's a big money move for real. And the slow integration of new currency meant that for the time being, both national and foreign coins were available. But there was another type of coin floating around unbeknownst to anyone, and the two bankers in the humble office of the Eastern Branch were the first to detect the counterfeit coins. With the astute eyes of a banker, they found the irrefutable mistake: a single missing tooth. Confused? I get it, let me explain. The coins issued from the bank had an inscription in traditional Mongolian script, which is the one and only vertical script in the world, and this writing system has common components that are used to create the exact letters. So you would start with learning those components well before learning the exact letters. And some of those components are, for example, the crown, the belly, the spine, and the tooth. And depending on the usage or the lack thereof of any of these components, a word can mean different things or nothing at all. For example, the word for anger is written as such, but when you add a little dot in front of the very first tooth, a sharp little thing in the beginning of the word, it becomes the word for lake in Mongolian. So that's the difference. And whoever was making the counterfeit coins probably didn't have much knowledge of the language and was working quite underground. So the FBI of the Mongolia at that time gets the news at the right fucking time, as even only a couple years after its operation, the bank has started to crack from inside, and they have already started to detect some bad apples from the barrel with quite a commotion. But it's not clear whether these two incidents were connected. So the majority of the goods and products that are highly on demand were imported from China or Russia, and Jesus Christ, still are. Free us! And those people who run businesses were mostly Chinese merchants at that time, and they would meet secretly and discuss the price of goods and the ways to tighten their oligopoly in Mongolian market. Not only that, from this meeting they decide to get a major loan from the bank to run them out of their funds. And one of those merchants meet Zayat. another successful Chinese businessman who supplies these stores with Chinese goods and who has an old partner in the Mongol bank. Side note, they did such a great job trying to make the scene of these Chinese merchants talking to each other as authentic as possible. They recorded the footage, dubbed the conversation in Chinese, but I can read their lips and tell that the conversation was had in Mongolian because the actors are in Mongolian, but they dubbed the scene again in Mongolian so that the audience can understand, which is crazy work to be honest. But when they're showing the Chinese characters' internal dialogue or thought, it is in Mongolian. No dub in Chinese, which confused me a lot, but A for an effort, I guess. Okay, back to the movie. Zayat looks for his old mate in the bank, but turns out he was the guy who was caught money laundering. He was the guy in the car. And the bank officer accentuates their connection and looks at Zayat strangely. And then Zayat quickly says that he loaned him some money and simply wanted to get it back. And before he gets into deep waters, he rushes back to Sambes. Sambe-Sinhure, which was a real town in early 1900s and could have become another city of Mongolia had it not been for the 1939, is an eastern hub of trade and religion and pulses with life and activity. Amidst the bustling flow of people selling and buying and auctioning and horse and livestock being sold, a man picks at every little thing. He seems like he's not in the mood to buy anything but want to browse and touch. Some merchants get upset by his picky attitude and take him for trying to lowball their horse. So they get into a little brawl and understandably, they wrestle. Turns out he actually can wrestle and has money. They put their little brawl behind and become friends. And after some heavy-duty pints, it becomes clear that the rich stranger has just actually escaped a prison. Yes, he is the bank money launderer. He has managed to escape, and not only that, he has money too, fresh out of the dryer. Although he's free now, the police will come sniffing his trails, and since he has nowhere to hide, he's actually looking to buy a good horse and head east. But the young man invites him to work with him under his boss, who of course is Zayat. And as Namjil has worked in the bank and knows a bit more about Mongolian coins, Zayat decides to take him under his wings. His main task, at least for now, is to convert coins to paper money as Zayat hears the news about counterfeit coins circling around. And Zayat, being a business owner, it is of utmost priority to keep the cost as low as possible. And by hiring Namjil for that task, he basically has two people doing the same job. Anandacher, the young man, and Namjil. So he hires a hitman and kills Anandacher, a guy who's been working for him for a long time. Zayat sends him off to his last task and promises to pay him in a lump sum when he comes back. But he doesn't have to now because he's dead. Namjil is now the main man through whom Zayat converts his coin into pure paper money, and that's his only job. Yes, it's true. He's got nothing else going on. He's just browsing, seeing what's new, checking out who's doing what. That's all. Oh, birch charcoal. It is so good for grilling, slow cooking, smoking some nice jerky because it burns slow and hotter. Almost as good as coals. I wonder why this attracts Namjil's attention. Turns out the man is not selling these as he has prepared them for someone else who will come and pick it up soon. Time goes on and Namjil keeps bringing Zayat his paper money. And Zayat asks if he has heard about the news of the counterfeit coins circulating in the market. He even has some coins that he'd like Namjil to look at as he can read Mongolian scripts. Namjil scrutinizes the coins and can tell that it was counterfeit. And Zayat asks him to point out the difference so that he can check whenever someone pays him with coins, but he wouldn't budge, saying that it was a state secret. So Zayat decides to ask the bank to check some of the coins for him, and luckily those are original coins. But he lies to Namjil and says that the bank said that they were fake and asks him where the exact difference was. After pushing back a little bit, Namjil tells him that the exact mistake in the inscription, and having learned what to fix, Zayat goes to his smithman. Yes, it was Zayat. He has been making counterfeit coins so that he can get rich. That's the point. What else is he doing this for? But silly man. The smithsman working for him is an old man with a 2 telescope on his face and is Chinese, which means he doesn't know the details of the Mongolian script, and Zayat keeps them in a rundown barn, which is not too conducive to let his artistic talent shine. And the guards? They always beat this man. I mean, why would you treat the very people who are creating the exact value for you so badly, huh? Namgyal is back at the bank again. He's happy that Zayat has managed to fix the mistake. And not only that, he's happy to see his colleagues. Yes, he actually is a secret agent working to trace the counterfeit coins, and he has succeeded. They could actually just get to Zayat and capture him, but decides to wait, as Zayat, along with Namgyal, is planning to go to the Halgan city, which is a current-day Zhangjiakou, which is a city northwest of Beijing. Oh wow, that accent, did it, didn't it? Maybe not, I don't know. This is a chance for the FBI to perform a deep research on an even bigger scale, spying on a broader connection and conspiracy happening, and to check whether Zayat is making the counterfeit coins by himself, or is he just a part of broader operation. Later on, Namgyal ends up finding the Smithman's house and tries to spy on them, but the Zayat's hitman, who's been ordered to keep an eye on Namgyal, gets in his way. This scene is actually so funny because, it's a serious scene, but they don't say a single word, and they actually try to emulate Chinese martial art, wushu, but it looks just so comical. But I don't think they could have easily searched up videos on YouTube about wushu, so I gave him, I'll cut them I will cut them some slack. Is it? Anyways, Namgyal ends up besting him, luckily, because in the movie, the guy with the scar is said to be very cruel and psychotic killer. Few days later, Zayat and Namgyal end up in Halgan city, where an American big boss and a Chinese big boss, who have been conspiring to create even bigger scale fake money situation, decides to chalk everything up to Zayat's little individual operation. But the American big boss would like to work with Namgyal and use his talent and knowledge of Mongolian script to create even bigger scam with printing machine and all of that. So after coming back, Namgyal decides to snitch on everything. And instead of finishing his mission, he is even assigned to continue and work with Mr. Adams in his scams and to spy on him until they have a substantial evidence to warrant an arrest. And it is a big and dangerous task that he has to undertake alone in a foreign country. But he has to do it for the people, for the country, and for his family. The officer tells him that few days ago his mom passed away, and as a person who swore to work for his country, he has no right to pull back. And the officer just keeps taunting him. He shows him his son's picture to tug on his heartstrings, and after kissing his son's picture, Namgyal pulls himself up and accepts the task, but he does not know what he should do. And that really stuck with me for some reason, because I think it shows his humility and his honesty a lot, which is something we try to hide. Like, we want to appear as strong and in control as possible, but him just humbly stating that he does not know what to do, not in fear, but just as a matter of fact. And probably to some degree, I think he was afraid, but I think it shows a great strength and honesty. So his first order of business is to just go there and observe and collect intel. Although he has not seen his family for several months, and them thinking that he was a criminal with the purpose of doing everything for their future, he bids adieu to the officer before going on a mission. He's not sure of what might happen, let alone know whether he'll come back from it. As for Zaya, he throws a big dinner party for his Smithman to celebrate successfully replicating the coins without mistake. The poor Smithman is just so happy at the news that he can be free and go back to China. But Zayat, being himself, ends up poisoning everyone, even his trusted butler during the dinner. But luckily and finally, FBI managed to come to arrest him, although it was too late. All of his Smithmen, except the old man who couldn't drink or eat much, have already died, and the old man ends up testifying against Zayat, who insists on speaking only in Chinese and not knowing anything.
다 иргэн заяатын завраар мөнгөн тэмдэг туурамчаар үйлдэж байсан чинь үнэн үү?
Үня олон нэг хийсэн. Энэ мо цаали тэхүний гартаа би олон жилээ зовсон шүү. Үнэн гэж байвала бурхан энийг шийдгээ ба.
다인 목록이 조금 야지도 그랬지.
애는 어찌리 야리나 이효다나 날이 아찔하시오.
다 야가 지스컬도 기도 그랬지.
아이 비인자고. 애는 뭐나 화요 남아가 유희기나 비보그디를 희사. 애는 남아 뭔가 바기. 제 소위 희기지 단단 남아가 저도사.
иргэн заяа та одоо хийсэн хэрэгээ хүлээж байна. Бочтой. Мэдэхгүй биз дээ. Мэдэхгүй.
The movie ends on a cliffhanger. Even more detailed counterfeit coins have made their way into the market that an experienced smithman can't even tell the difference. Hopefully, with Namjit in the field, they will be able to tackle this big conspiracy against the financial independence of Mongolia. Big baller moves, that, that's a crazy work. I guess some things will never change and people will try to use immoral ways to just get rich, I guess. So clutch your purses and be alert. I have friends who've lost money on a WhatsApp scam. I have real friends. I wish I had a sponsor. It would be such a good segue to an ad for, maybe a VPN or something. But if you, the viewer, have reached this point, just thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope it was interesting, and feel free to watch the original movie. And if you'd like to know more about Mongolia through movies and medias, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Please, because it's been a month and I've not seen anyone subscribing to my channel. But it's not, I'm not warranted this. I'm not guaranteed to get a subscriber like this. So just you watching and clicking on the video is more than anything that I could ask for. So just thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.